Sir, welcome to the Honor Cafe Hall of Heroes.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. And so, your name, Thomas Logan, is our guest, and we're here talking about his son.
Mhm.
And first tell us about yourself and where you live.
Well, I enlisted in the Air Force during the Vietnam War and served 4 years. And then right from there, I went to Houston Police for 28 years, retired from there. And then the year I retired, Joey went in the Marine Corps. So I had plenty of time to relax and enjoy stuff. And that year he graduated from high school, I took him on a 16,000-mile fishing trip all over the United States. And that was a experience of a lifetime. We've had so much fun together.
Did he give you any grief because you were Air Force and he was Marine?
I tried to talk him into going to the Air Force. He says, "No, they look like bus drivers." He says, "I said, how about the Navy? No, they're a little strange." And I says, "No, I want to go in the Army. I want to be a Marine." So that's what he did.
You know, Chris from Honor Cafe always say the reason people join the Marines is to be a Marine.
Yeah.
And that's the primary reason. What did you do in the Air Force?
I was a weapons instructor.
Yeah. And so was during the Vietnam era,
Yeah.
were you actually in Vietnam?
No, I stayed stateside to do all the training. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, with everything that went on with Vietnam, I mean, how did that feel? Because a lot of your sons served in the military, not?
Yeah, pretty much our whole family. My grandfather, on the Italian side, he enlisted in the American Army and went back to World War I and fought in France. My dad's and his brothers and all my uncles were in World War II, Korea. Debbie and I were Vietnam era, and 3 of our kids are Gulf War veterans.
Wow.
So we were busy.
Did they all serve in the Marines, or?
No, my grandfather was Army, and my dad and all the uncles were Army, and Debbie and I were Air Force, and Joey was in the Marine Corps. Andy was in the Marine Corps. His sister, he talked her into going to the Marine Corps and recruit as assistant so he'd make another stripe. That's pretty cold. Make a rank on your sister. And Tommy, my oldest son, he's in the Navy. He's a E8 right now, and he's working on his 20 years there.
So your whole family has served?
Yeah, we've been there, done that. Yeah.
Wow. So tell us about Joey.
Well, Joey was that protector growing up as a kid. If he saw something happening to somebody, he didn't like it, he'd step in. From a young age all through high school, he got a reputation of getting a lot of fights trying to help somebody that was getting picked on. And, and we got a couple phone calls from principals, teachers, and, your son's suspended. What did he do this time? Well, then the story went on, But then he had listened to me all my life. And you don't realize your kids are listening to you. They're eventually emulating you. We told them about our time in the service, and and then the police department. And all of a sudden, he comes home one day. I think his senior year of high school. Dad, I'm going to the Marine Corps. I'm like, what? You got to be kidding me. He said, yeah, I already went to talk to a recruiter. Are you sure? And I said, yeah, I'm going. But it changed quite a bit because that senior year, he was fooling around with a bunch of his friends at a party, fell and cut his hand on a piece of glass, and severed all the tendons, arteries, and ligaments in his wrist. And he called me like 2 a.m. Dad, there's blood squirting in my wrist and it won't stop bleeding. I said, well, put a tourniquet on and have your friends take you to the hospital emergency room because you're going to bleed out if you don't get down there quick. So we went down there, and it was a mess. He cut himself really bad. So after 6-7 hours of surgery down at the medical center in Houston, they sewed his hand back together, but I figured he'd have a crippled hand. And through a lot of therapy and stuff, he actually regained his hand, but he did not tell his recruiter that he cut himself. So he was telling a little white lie because he still wanted to go in. So by the time summer rolled around, I had just retired, and my wife says, are you going to go fishing all summer? I said, yep, that's what I told you I was going to do. So you're taking him with you. So, and he was still pretty depressed because his hand wasn't functioning 100%.
Yeah.
It was working, but it's not like it should be. And, So I said, Joey, go get your fly rod, go get your fishing rods, and put it in your hand, and let's see if you can cast. So he got out there, and he was whining about it. It works, doesn't it? Yep. Load the truck up. So I had already planned this whole fishing trip myself, but I naturally got to take him. and mapped it out on Trout Fishing Magazine. So we started in Arkansas, and we fished 9 states and 2 Canadian provinces, all through the Rocky Mountains, up into British Columbia, over to Saskatchewan, back into Montana, and that's when he fell in love with Montana. That's why he wanted to build cabins up there after he got a Marine Corps.
Wow.
It was amazing. I mean, the stuff we saw, the wilderness, the fish. We must have caught a million fish. And we slept in the truck. We slept in tents. Every once in a while, we had to go get a motel because we didn't know who stunk worse, me or him. You know how it gets. And it was just, it's something he never wanted to end.
Yeah.
And I was hoping to be many more, but at Afghanistan, he passed away there in a helicopter crash. Yeah.
So let's talk about his unit. What in you know when they're deployed? What Marine group was he?
He was with the Lucky Red Lions out of K Bay, Hawaii.
Okay.
It was an air wing. He flew the 53 helicopters, and he was aerial observer, which is a gunner on a 50 cal.
Oh, what year was that?
Well, he started in 08, and it was through 2012.
2012.
He did two deployments in Afghanistan, in between training and everything else.
So he went with that unit. That was 2012.
Yeah, that was the last deployment. That was their sundown mission. That was the last mission to go over there.
So you were communicating with him, and how often did you get to talk to him when he was over there?
It was really unusual because every once in a while, out of the blue, we get a phone call from him. It'd be 4 o'clock in the morning here and daytime over there. And he said, I don't care what time it is. I got the phone now. And he called quite often, and it made you feel good. And matter of fact, he called us the morning that they got killed that night.
Oh.
And he had all these plans in the world. He said, I'm going to come home. I got 30 days leave. I clear it with my master sergeant, and I'm going to go visit every relative we have, aunts, uncles, cousins, and stuff. And I said, Joe, there's no way you can do that. Well, I'm going to take your truck. I said, yeah, I would figure that much. And then 10:30 at night, they knocked on the door and said they were killed. You know.
I can't imagine that. That's always one of the hardest things, especially when you're pulling that duty to go to the families and tell them. And why did he choose what he did in the Marines? What was his drive for that?
Well, he had 2 MOSs. He had equipment, and then he had the AO. And he was that A personality. If he wasn't first, he was always mad about something. Through basic training, it was a funny story. He got to be bunkmates with a Mexican national, had a green card and stuff. And the drill instructors told him, Joey, you're a Texican, and that's a Mexican. You make sure he speaks English and passes basic training. So Joey and Nunez were buddies all through basic. Joey got him through basic training. And they both went to the same MOS school in Florida. And Joey graduated number 1, and guess who graduated number 2? Nunez. So Joey tutored him all the way through.
Wow.
And it was awesome. Yeah.
What did you think about that, flying around, door gunner?
Well, it's funny because on a fishing trip that we took, we were all over every Rocky Mountain state. We ended up in South Dakota, Mount Rushmore and stuff. Went up to see the presidents, came back down, and there was a helicopter pad sitting down at the base of the mountains there, and it says tours available. And I saw it when I walked up. I'm like, you know what? We need to go fly. So I went in, talked to the guy, come back out, paid him the money. I said, Joe, we're going to go on a helicopter ride? Oh, cool, Dad. He says, yeah, but can I sit in the middle? I said, why? Well, there's wire and duct tape holding the window on, holding the door on. And then a year later, he's hanging out the back end of a 53 helicopter on a 50 cal machine gun, shoot the countryside up, you know. So that was amazing because the helicopter pilot took us up to Rushmore. We flew over the presidents, and then he flew over the next ridge. We went into the Crazy Horse Monument. And he flies right up to the nose of Crazy Horse. And we're hovering there. It's a huge monument. And then the guy said, you want to see something? I said, yeah, why not? Flies over the next bridge, and he stampedes a herd of buffalo.
Oh, nice.
Cloud of dust, and it's like, and you can see Joey just lit up. I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, okay, it's enough of this fun stuff. Let's go land this thing. But that's how the whole trip was. We saw so many things. It wasn't just fishing. We went to museums. We were in Wyoming. Went to the Cody Museum, Buffalo Bill display, and all that. And it was a dream. It's a major, beautiful summer.
So you wrote a book. Let's
Yeah.
talk about your book.
Yeah, it's called Fishing with Joey's, and it's a memoirs of my Marine son.
Let's see it.
There you go.
Well, actually, turn it towards you.
Turn it like that.
Yeah. So.
And I don't know how I wrote this. To me, it was it's a miracle. I just couldn't let all these things we did together and everything he did go away, because there's so many veterans that have so many stories, so many great things they've done, people they know, and they pass when they pass. And being a Gold Star dad, most of this it's got a lot of biblical stuff in it, a lot of Christian stuff, and what happens when somebody dies, and why you should carry on and do something for someone else, help somebody else. And I think this will help other Gold Star families get through their grief, because grief is a bad thing. It's like PTSD. It's same. There's no difference in it, and it doesn't go away. And he loved the fish, and the fish. The cover here is almost the exact size of the big brown trout he caught in Arkansas, the big first brown trout. And I just searched the internet, and that popped up, and there it was. So it's a story, and it's yours to have and to read. And I think you'll enjoy it. But there'll be some tears shed, I guarantee, because I'm reading it to my wife now, because she can't see too good, and so we do a chapter a day, and we have our little moments, and we just go on from there.
How did faith play into your household? Because you had a lot of children. You were doing a dangerous job as a police officer.
Well, I've always believed. I was brought up a Christian, and there's always something. There's a guiding force behind. There's a soul. We're a being. There's something spiritual about us, and it always comes to you. Like what happened with Joe. I mean, the whole book is what I call miracles that have happened since he passed. I mean, one night, shortly after he died, I was upstairs in the den there, and I just went and slept in his bedroom that night because I didn't feel like going downstairs. How you get tired, you're going to go take a nap. Went to bed. I get up early 30 in the morning, had to use the restroom, and there's a apparition of him standing in the house in full dress blues. And I've talked to a lot of other people like that, and it's like, I did really see him. It wasn't my mind. There's another instance where Tomball Quilting ladies made a quilt out of all his combat uniforms. And Debbie says, well, it's got to be king size, so. So they used all his fatigues, his flight suits. He had a T-shirt he wore, the Ronald Reagan statement. Some people go their whole lives not making a difference, but Marines don't have that problem. That's the center of the quilt.
That's a great.
Isn't it? That is off the chart. And it took them a year to do it. And the lady said the hardest thing they had to do was to cut those uniforms, because they knew who wore them and where they came from. Matter of fact, the dirt in Afghanistan, you can't wash it out. No. That red clay dirt. I don't care how many times you wash it, it's not coming out. It's there. So it's part of him in there, part of there. And they gave us the quilt, and that was pretty emotional when they got it. And same thing again. I put it on his bed, and I slept under it 2 nights. The second morning I got up, I hear clear as a bell, "Hey, Dad," just like that. So, to me, those are miracles. That's telling you there is a better place after this world. There's a better place. Yep.
So, you wrote the book, and you're going to have a book signing here at the Hearst Museum, because we're at the Hearst Museum today. And then you'll be down at Honor Cafe, and we'll do a book signing down there.
Yeah, that's what I understand. Yeah.
You can talk to people about that.
Yeah.
But a lot of Gold Star families, they're always looking for closure, because we want closure.
Yeah.
And that's just amazing to me that you were blessed with that trip.
Yeah.
Because that trip.
It was.
And then you get to write a book about it.
Yeah.
And that is in itself a miracle.
Yeah, it really is. And it's hard to explain to some people, though. They don't. A lot of people understand it, and a lot of people don't. But once they get into these chapters, they're going to go, "Whoa!" the big wow factor. You
So
know?
you believe this is an encouragement as well for Gold Star?
Oh yeah, because I've talked to so many over the years, and some are angry, some are sad, some can't get over it, and they just can't get to that next step. And one thing one of my daughters told me is that Dad, Joey's gone, but you got 4 other kids. Don't forget us.
You know, and the
You
the thing it's hard to say to people because you don't want to come out as aloof or cold.
Yeah.
But you know, when we lose somebody, that person would want us to continue, not to wallow in the sorrows, but their legacy should be what we do as we move forward. And I'm really just grateful that you took the time and wrote this book, and that you spent time reaching out to other Gold Star families, because death like that never makes sense. And,
no.
And you can lose a child in combat, or you can lose a child
anywhere,
in a car accident.
Anything,
and you can lose children in really bad ways.
Yeah.
And it's never easy. And I deal a lot of time as you are, and that's probably one of the hardest jobs is to take a parent in, or tell them that their kid didn't make it. And but the fact that you're doing this for other Gold Star families, you took the time like this, really appreciate it.
Yeah, what's interesting to me also is that there's so many people that have come forward over all these years. It's been 13 years. I'm still getting stuff from the guys in his unit. I'm getting contacts from people out of the blue, like this right here. I'm like, I never imagined this would happen, and it just continually happens. So there's a reason for this to go on. There's a purpose for it, and I'll find out sooner or later. It's going to happen. But just a lot of people in the book. I mean, I talked to the people from the recovery team. I talked to the first dust-off unit who was on the ground that night, and it just guys in his unit, and letters from politicians. People from all over the world. We probably got 200 or 300 letters from people when everything happened. So there's a lot of great people in this country, and now finally, I think they're able to come back out again and start talking about it.
Yeah, we have a time in our government. We have a reprieve, a reset, to where we can do the right thing internationally. We do the right thing for our military members, which is the most important thing, and their families. And that's why I'm excited, at least about the next 4 years.
Yeah, I am too. I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah. It's going to be good. But I just want to thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And we're gonna go right now. We're gonna look at this memorial up here that is at the Hearts Museum.
I'm real grateful for that, because I'm surprised it's still here. It's a long time, and it's a tribute to all these people in here. There's so many memories, so many spirits in this building. It's unreal. Yeah,
it's a great place. And I always tell people, if they haven't been to the Hearts Museum, it is a destination location. Even if you're traveling far distances from other states, it's a place that you need to come. And there's so much here in this area.
Yeah, there is.
All right, sir. We're at the display now. Why don't you tell us about the display?
Well, this display was put up here 12, 13 years ago, and I'm so grateful it's still here, because it's got Joey's uniform. He's got a picture of him in a helicopter, and he's pointing to his first combat mission flag, and I have that flag hanging at the house in my office. And the next picture is all of his awards. He earned 2 Combat Air Wings and Purple Heart during that deployment. And he's a busy boy. He did a lot of flying. And the painting was done by Tammy Curtis Guy out of New Orleans, and she's an artist over there. And she painted this portrait in honor of all the fallen soldiers and veterans out of the Gulf Wars. And there's Operation New Dawn, Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraq Freedom, and Courage is Endurance for One More Moment More.
It's a beautiful display, and if you can hear in the background, there's people here because we're at the museum. That's what the wonderful thing about it is that this is here. It's not stuck in your house, and it's here where you can come visit, family can come visit. More importantly, people from around the community and people from around the world can come and visit this and see this, and it's here, and it's a memorial to your son, to his service, but also to other Marines that have served. And it's really an amazing thing to have this at the Hearts Museum.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Yep.
Well, sir, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for this interview. I know it's tough. I can't imagine how hard it is. But more importantly, I want to thank you for the book you wrote, what you're doing with other Gold Star families, and meeting us here to show us this amazing display. It's a great tribute to your son, but it's never enough. You know, he gave everything for our nation, and I'm overwhelmed with gratitude to you, to your son. And more importantly, I'm really looking forward to reading the book.
Oh yeah, it's quite a bit.
Yeah.
I take it in little bits, and I tell people read all the fishing trip first because it's the fun stuff. Then get back into the rest of it and make it a lot easier to read.
Well, there will be a book signing here, and we'll put that out. That'll be out in the media, and there will be a book signing also at Honor Cafe.
Yeah.
But more importantly, thank you for viewing this. Thank you for coming to the channel, and visit the Hearts Museum where you can see this display. Visit Eat at Honor Cafe where you can see a lot of other Gold Star displays that we have there at the Honor Cafe. And thank you for all that you do for veterans. And thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.